I used to think betrayal had a sound, maybe like a door slamming, or a whispered lie, or the soft click of someone deleting your name from an email chain. But the day my boss fired me, it was silent. A silence so thick it felt like it could drown me. My name is Ava Clark. I'm 30, and for the last 6 years, I gave everything: my time, my health, my weekends to a tech company in downtown Seattle called Graybridge Systems. I thought loyalty mattered. I thought hard work meant something. I thought people saw me. I was wrong. So painfully, devastatingly wrong. And what they did to me, what he did, I swear, it rewired something inside my brain. It woke something up that I didn't even know was sleeping. Something sharp, something patient, something that wanted revenge. Slow, precise, and unforgettable. It was a Tuesday morning. Gray skies, cold air, coffee that tasted like burnt rubber. You know, the usual Seattle welcome package. I walked into the office like I always did, head down, laptop bag cutting into my shoulder, hair slightly damp from the mist outside. But the moment I stepped in, something felt off. People were whispering, or worse, not whispering. They were avoiding eye contact, turning away, pretending they didn't see me. My stomach tightened. Something was wrong. Very, very wrong. Then I saw him walking toward me. Daniel Pierce, my boss, Graybridge's prodigy CEO, the man who loved to brag that he built the company in his garage, even though everyone knew his parents funded the whole thing. His face looked off, too calm, too prepared. Ava, he said, just my name, flat, hollow, like he'd practiced it. Can we talk in my office? My throat tightened. My palms went cold, but I nodded in that walk. That stupid, silent walk down the hallway. It felt like a funeral march. He closed the door behind us, took a deep breath, and then he said it. Just like that. No emotion, no hesitation. Ava, we're letting you go. The words didn't even hit me at first. They kind of floated in the air, like dust, until they suddenly slammed into my chest. What? What are you talking about? I whispered. Daniel didn't blink, didn't shift, didn't even look sorry. We've reviewed your performance. We've found several discrepancies, missing client documentation, budget errors, things you were responsible for. My heart dropped. Daniel, that's impossible. I've never. He put up a hand. Cold, precise. Your access has already been revoked. HR is finalizing your exit paperwork. Exit paperwork. Like I was some broken device being returned. Something inside me cracked. Slowly, quietly. But the pieces were sharp. Daniel, I said, swallowing hard. You know I didn't do any of that. You know I've carried this team for years. He didn't even flinch. It's out of my hands. Liar. I could see it in his eyes. He was lying. And not just lying. Enjoying it. Who signed off on this? I asked. My voice was shaking now. But not from fear. From something hotter. Something that tasted like rage. He stared at me, then smiled. A tiny, arrogant smile that made my blood turn to ice. I did. That's when everything inside me went silent. Completely silent. Like my mind had flipped a switch. He wanted me gone. He planned this. He framed me, and then he leaned forward and said, I'm sure you'll land on your feet. You're capable enough. Capable enough. Like I was some intern asking for a letter of recommendation. He stood, walked to the door, and opened it. Just like that. Conversation over. Life destroyed. HR will escort you out. Escort. I wasn't a criminal. but he wanted it to feel like I was. I walked out of his office in a haze. Co-workers staring, some pretending not to stare, some whispering behind their monitors. I felt sick. My legs felt hollow. My chest tight. Handed me a box. A cardboard box. For 6 years of my life. And as I packed my things, there was only one thought echoing in my mind. He's not going to get away with this. Not Daniel. Not the people who helped him. Not the ones who stayed quiet. No. They were all going to learn something. Something I didn't even know I had inside me before this moment. I can be dangerous. Quiet. But dangerous. I didn't find out what really happened until 2 nights later. I was sitting on my apartment floor, surrounded by unpacked boxes and job rejection emails, replaying Daniel's smirk over and over again, like a sick movie loop. Then my phone buzzed. A text from a number I didn't recognize. Ava, it's Mia. I need to talk to you. What they did wasn't fair. My breath caught. Mia, my friend, my coworker, someone who'd always been good to me. I called her immediately. Her voice was shaking. Ava, I'm so sorry. I should have told you sooner. Told me what? I whispered. She hesitated. And then, Ava, they deleted your files. They changed your timestamps. They altered your logs. It wasn't a mistake. It was planned. My blood ran cold. Who did it? Daniel. And someone else. Who? Mia swallowed hard. Ava. It was Cassie. I closed my eyes. Not Cassie. Not her. My teammate. My friend. Someone I ate lunch with almost every day. Why? I asked. Mia took a shaky breath. Because she wants your position. And Daniel. He wants her. My entire body went still. Like the world froze. Daniel fired me to protect Cassie. To give her my job. To cover up her mistakes. Her laziness. Her screw-ups. Her incompetence. He ruined my career. For her. Something deep in my chest burned. Slow, steady, controlled. Ava, Mia whispered. You didn't hear this from me, okay? Please, I couldn't let you think you did anything wrong. I nodded even though she couldn't see me. Thank you, Mia, I said quietly. But don't worry. I exhaled slowly, feeling something cold settle over me. I won't tell anyone you called. Because I wouldn't need to. I didn't need help. I didn't need alliances. I didn't need anyone to fight for me. I was going to do it myself. And I wasn't just going to expose them. I wasn't just going to get justice, no. I was going to burn everything Daniel and Cassie built. Piece by piece. Lie by lie. Until they felt what I felt. Until they understood what it means to lose everything. That night, I sat on my couch in the dark, laptop glowing in my lap, the city lights flickering outside my window, and I made a list. A detailed, meticulous, surgical list. Every secret, every vulnerability, every weak spot in the company, every illegal thing Daniel had ever pushed under the rug. Every backdoor Cassie used to shift her workload onto others. Everything Mia had told me about what they did. Everything I'd seen over 6 years. I knew the company better than anyone. I built half the systems they used. I knew every protocol, every flaw, every Daniel thought firing me erased me. He thought kicking me out broke me. But he didn't realize something critical. I built this place, and only the creator knows exactly how to destroy the machine. By midnight, I had the entire plan drafted, not a messy, emotional plan driven by anger. No, something quieter, colder, smarter. A plan he'd never see coming. A plan that would tear him apart, slowly, beautifully, and when he finally realized what I'd done, it would already be too late. This wasn't just revenge, this was evolution. The morning after I made the list, I woke up different. Not sad, not broken, not scared, just focused, sharpened, like someone had taken a blade to my edges overnight. I brewed my coffee, stared out at the gray Seattle skyline, and said it out loud, quietly, steadily. Daniel Pierce, you're going to regret ever touching my life. And I meant every syllable. Revenge isn't loud. Not the good kind. It's quiet, methodical, patient. It slips under doors and fills the room without anyone noticing. And the truth is, Graybridge had more cracks than Daniel wanted anyone to know. I still had copies of certain files. Not confidential company files because I'm not stupid enough to take things illegally, but documentation I personally created. Templates, old drafts, correspondence showing how many deadlines I saved, how many budgets I fixed, how many presentations I finished while everyone else went home, and, more importantly, receipts. Not literal receipts, digital ones. Email threads, Slack backups, screenshots of conversations where Daniel approved things he later pretended he didn't touch. I hadn't saved them for revenge. I'd saved them because I'm the kind of person who overprepares, who documents everything, who protects herself. Funny how the habits they mocked turned out to be the thing that would ruin them. But I needed more. I needed someone on the inside. Not me as she was too scared. I needed someone bolder, sloppier, someone who hated Daniel almost as much as I did. Someone like Ethan. Ethan worked in IT, tall, socially awkward, obsessed with vintage keyboards. And Daniel treated him like trash, constantly overworking him, taking credit for his ideas, even mocking him in front of clients. If anyone had motivation to help me, it was Ethan. So I texted him, "Can we talk? Privately, tonight?" He responded in 3 seconds. "Yes, absolutely. I can meet anywhere." Poor guy. He probably thought I was asking him on a date. Little did he know, we were about to commit career homicide. We met at a tiny 24-hour diner, cheap coffee, cracked vinyl booths, the smell of fried onions lingering in the air like a ghost. Ethan was already there when I arrived, sitting stiffly, glasses fogged, looking like he'd sprinted the whole way. He stood when he saw me. "Ava, oh my God, are you okay?" I heard what happened. It was insane. I slid into the booth and held up a hand. "Ethan, I didn't ask you here to talk about my feelings." He froze. "Okay, what do you need?" I leaned in, lowering my voice. "I need access." His eyes widened. "Ava, I can't just, not to company systems," I said calmly. "To information, to people, to patterns. You know the networks better than anyone." He exhaled with relief. "Well, yeah. I mean, I know things." I smiled slightly. "I know you do." Then I said the one sentence that changed everything. "Ethan, they framed me." His entire body stiffened. "I knew it," he whispered. "I knew Daniel was acting weird." "And Cassie?" "She started using phrases you used in your documentation. Like, word for word. Even her emails sound like you now." My stomach twisted. Of course she was using my systems, my style, my work. She wanted to be me, just without the effort. I placed my hands on the table. Steady, controlled. "Ethan, I'm going to take them down, and I need your help." He swallowed hard, but he didn't say no. What do you need me to do?" I slid a small notebook toward him. I need you to tell me everything Daniel has been hiding. Every irregular login, every file he's archived, every meeting invite he's sent privately, every anomaly you found for the last 6 months. Ethan stared at the notebook like it was radioactive. Ava, if I do this, I'll get fired. I leaned in. My voice dropped to a whisper. No, Ethan, you'll get promoted. He blinked fast. Promoted. How? Because when this is over, I said softly, they won't have anyone left to run the company except the people who were honest. He stared at me for a long time. Then he nodded, slowly, like he already knew he was going to say yes. I'll help you, he said. But, Ava, promise me something. What? That you won't destroy the whole company. Some of us, we actually need this job. I held his gaze, and I told him the truth. I'm not going to destroy the company. Just the people who tried to destroy me. Ethan sent me the first piece of information 2 nights later. A folder. Encrypted. Password. Phoenix. When I opened it, my breath caught. It wasn't what I expected. Not evidence of Cassie messing with my files. Not Daniel changing TIMESTAMPS. It was something bigger. Much bigger. Graybridge Systems was lying to investors. Not a little. Not bending the truth. But full-on falsifying user metrics. Thousands of fake data points. Inflated engagement charts. I generated client testimonials. Even forged documents to make it seem like they'd partnered with companies that had never even heard of them. This wasn't just unethical. It was illegal. Federal-level illegal. And Daniel was at the center of it. Every signature, every spreadsheet, every falsified projection. Cassie wasn't just his favorite employee. She was his accomplice. I sat back in my chair, heartbeat pounding in my ears, a cold smile spreading across my face. Well, looks like we found the skeletons. But then, I saw the last file in the folder, and my stomach flipped. A draft email from Daniel. Never sent, never finished, but saved. An email addressed to the board. We need to remove Ava Clark before she becomes a liability. I froze completely. A liability. He fired me not because Cassie wanted my job, not because I was replaceable. He fired me because he was afraid of me. Afraid I'd see the truth. Afraid I'd expose him. Afraid I'd notice the numbers that didn't match. The systems that didn't align. The stats that didn't add up. He didn't fire me because I was weak. He fired me because I was smart. Because I could see through him. Because I could prove everything. And suddenly, everything clicked. This wasn't personal. It was survival. For him. But that email, that unfinished sentence, it didn't scare me. It empowered me. Because it meant one thing. One beautiful, perfect thing. Daniel Pierce was terrified of me before. He had no idea how terrified he'd be now. At first, my plan was simple. Expose Daniel. Expose Cassie. Clear my name. Get my life back. But now it wasn't enough. They didn't just hurt me. They used me. Used my work. Used my systems. Used my talent to cover their lies. They wanted to erase me, fine. But they forgot one thing. You can't erase someone who built the foundation you're standing on. So I changed the plan. Upgraded it. Expanded it. I wasn't just going to hurt Daniel. I was going to make him lose everything. His company. His reputation. His network. His safety net. His shiny Silicon Valley investor friends. His entire life's achievement. And Cassie? She'd fall with him. Hard, not because she took my job. Not because she betrayed me, but because she helped destroy something I worked years to build. Because she laughed when I was escorted out. Because she thought she was untouchable. No one is untouchable to ruin someone like Daniel. You don't attack head on. You don't expose him too early. You don't tip him off. You make him comfortable, safe, confident, until he walks right into the fire himself. So I did something he would never expect. I reached out to him, yes, him. I wrote him an email. Daniel, I'd like to talk. No anger, no accusations, just closure. Meet me for coffee? Predictable ego-driven idiot that he was. He agreed in 5 minutes. Of course he did. He thought he'd won. He thought I was crawling back, broken, desperate for validation. Good. Let him think that. Because when I walked into that coffee shop, he had no idea he was sitting across from the person who had the power to end him, and he definitely didn't know that I already started. Coffee shops are funny places. They smell like hope, and disappointment, and broken dreams. But that morning, the only thing I smelled was opportunity. Daniel was already there, sitting by the window. Perfect suit, perfect hair, perfect smile that never reached his eyes. He looked up when I walked in, and I swear, he looked pleased. Like seeing me broken fed his ego. I sat across from him slowly, calm, composed, deadly. Ava, he said, leaning back casually, I'm glad you reached out. I was worried you might still be upset. I smiled gently. Upset? No. I just want to move on. He relaxed. Exactly as planned. He had no idea this meeting wasn't for closure. It was to confirm one thing. He was still arrogant enough to think he'd won good. Arrogance makes people blind. We talked. Or rather, he talked endlessly about the company, about new opportunities, about how sometimes tough decisions need to be made. He even said, it wasn't personal. Ava, you're talented, but Cassie just fits our culture better. I swallowed the disgust rising in my chest. Then I tilted my head slightly and whispered, Daniel, can I ask you something? He nodded. If you knew the truth would come out one day, would you still have fired me? His eyes flickered, just for a split second. Fear. Real fear. He tried to hide it, but I saw it. Oh, Daniel, you should have been an actor, because your face tells the truth even when your words don't. I leaned forward, lowering my voice. Everything you built rests on lies, doesn't it? His throat tightened. Ava, I don't know what you think. I cut him off gently. You should have deleted the draft email. He froze. Complete stillness. For the first time since I met him, Daniel Pierce had no words. Good, now he knew. Now he understood. I stood slowly, sliding my chair back. Good luck, Daniel, I whispered. You're going to need it. And I walked out, leaving him staring after me, pale, shaking, trying to understand how much I knew. By the time he realized the answer, it was already too late. By the next morning, everything was ready. Every piece, every file, every screenshot, every falsified document marked with Daniel's signature, every inflated metric Cassie submitted, every time-stamped connection from their accounts. I compiled it all into one master folder, labeled simply, Graybridge Truthy didn't send it to the board, or HR, or Daniel, no. They were too close, too corrupt, too controlled. I sent it to the SEC, a tech investigation journalist, to venture capital firms invested in Graybridge, Daniel's partner company, the real one, not the fake ones he invented, and the board's legal counsel. And then I closed my laptop, and waited. It only took 18 hours. It started with a news alert. Then 2. Then 10. Graybridge Systems under investigation for fraud. CEO Daniel Pierce accused of fabricating metrics. Whistleblower exposes major tech company lying to investors. I watched the headlines roll in like slow-moving fireworks. Beautiful, chaotic, explosive. Then came the internal leaks. Board emergency meeting, investors withdrawing funds, employees panicking, Cassie being questioned for hours, and Daniel completely unreachable. I almost felt bad. Almost. But then I remembered him smirking as HR escorted me out. I remembered Cassie laughing behind her mug. I remembered the word liability in that draft email. And suddenly, I didn't feel bad at all. I felt justice. Around midnight, Ethan texted me. Ava, it's chaos here. Cassie is crying. Daniel is locked in a conference room. They all know. They all know. Whatever you did, it worked. I stared at the message for a long time, then typed back, good. You deserve better. Keep your head down. Because Ethan wasn't my target. He never was. Some people survive the fire. Others cause it. 3 days later, something shocking happened. Daniel came to my apartment. I heard the knock. Slow, heavy, exhausted. I opened the door and saw him. But not the polished, arrogant CEO I remembered. This Daniel looked ruined. Eyes bloodshot. Hair a mess. Suit wrinkled. Hands trembling. He looked human. Ava, he said, voice cracking. Please, can I talk to you? I didn't move aside. I didn't invite him in. What do you want? He swallowed hard. The board fired me. They froze my accounts. My investors cut ties. I might be facing charges. He dragged a hand through his hair, shaking. Ava, I don't know how they got the files. I don't know how everything surfaced. But please, I need you to help me. You were always smart. You were always loyal. You know how to fix things. You can help me. I stared at him. Long, cold, silent. Then I whispered, why would I help you? He opened his mouth. Nothing came out. He looked like he was choking on the truth, so I said it for him. You fired me to protect yourself. You let them drag my name through the mud. You tried to destroy me. He flinched, actually flinched. Then he whispered, I made a mistake. I shook my head slowly. No, Daniel, you made a choice. A tear slipped down his cheek. Ava, I'm begging you. And for a moment, just a brief moment, I felt the ghost of who I used to be. The Ava who believed in forgiveness, grace, people's better nature. But that Ava died the day he escorted me out of his office. I stepped closer. Just one step. You didn't lose everything because I exposed you, I said softly. You lost everything because you built your success on lies. He stared at me, broken, defeated. I held his gaze and delivered the final blow. I didn't destroy you, Daniel. You destroyed yourself. Then I closed the door. Slowly, silently, finally, and he didn't knock again. 2 months later, Graybridge Systems was dissolved. The board replaced everyone. Ethan became head of IT. Turns out he was the one people respected the most. Cassie vanished from the industry. Deleting her LinkedIn wasn't enough to erase the stain attached to her name. And Daniel, he faced charges, fraud, misrepresentation, forgery. His little empire crumbled into dust. As for me, I rebuilt, slowly, intentionally. Another company reached out, a startup I'd admired from afar. They'd seen the headlines. They'd read the whistleblower evidence, and they wanted me not as a replacement, not as a background employee, but as their new director of operations. On my first day, I walked into the office not as a victim, but as someone who had clawed her way back from the ashes. One of the founders shook my hand and said, "We know what you've been through, and we know your worth. We want you because you don't just survive storms, you end them." I smiled softly. If only they knew how true that was. People think revenge is about anger, about hurting someone back. But real revenge, the kind that changes you, the kind that rebuilds you, it's quieter, it's choosing yourself, it's reclaiming your power, it's walking away knowing you didn't just survive. You won. Daniel and Cassie tried to erase me, but instead, they created a version of me stronger than they ever imagined. And every time I walk into my new office, confident, steady, unshakable, I whisper to myself, "You didn't break me. You freed me." And just like that, my story didn't end with revenge. It ended with rebirth.